We are continuing with our 4x4 series now, where we examine the minor arcana cards, and we look at how we can treat all the ones and all the twos, and today all the fours. What's the overview we can apply to these cards? Today we are looking at the four cards. We'll have the Four of Swords, the Four of Staffs, the Four of Cups, and the Four of Coins. If you're telling fortunes, if you're spreading the cards for someone, the fours have a special place. And the key, and we'll look at this again a little bit later, is to consider the word forewarned. The fours are a warning. And that's how we treat these cards, because when they refer back to the cards of the major arcana in the fourth spot on the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge, we can see the relevance of those two cards. Today is the fourth tarot card of the Minor Arcana. As we've mentioned, the Minor Arcana is pretty much like our modern deck of playing cards. There are four suits, numbered 1 to King or Ace to King. We'll take a look at the four cards, and we just did take a quick look at them. And one thing that might jump out just very quickly is that there's not a lot of action in these cards. There's some celebration in the staffs, but very much this seems like a card of hanging back a little bit. And indeed, that's what they are. But again, the cue for these cards' meaning is to be forewarned. We'll take a look briefly. The Four of Cups is a man staring with indecision at a chance for happiness. Somebody has come up to him and said, hey, this would be fun, you want to do this? And he doesn't jump at it. He considers it. And there are reasons for that, and we'll look into that later. When we look at the Four of Coins, we can see a man that might even look a little miserly. He's holding on to his wealth. He's resisting displays. He's resisting purchases. He's owning his money. He's keeping his money safe. And if we look at the Four of Swords, it's called the Warrior's Repose. And the meaning of this card, and we'll look into it a little deeper in a minute, is to put aside your power. And this is very difficult in a society that celebrates power to such a degree, especially in cinema and things like that. But we remember that tarot is about balance, not pursuing a single aspect. And so in the interest of balance, we will see that putting aside your power may be the best thing you can do. What is the common theme of the four cards that we just looked at? Holding back, being suspicious, and staying in a safe space. Don't try to extend beyond your present state. These cards all have something to do with reticence, with not pursuing the obvious. To understand the meaning of the four cards, we have to take a look at what they represent. And with all the minor arcana, we look back to the major arcana, and we find the card in that numbered spot. When we're looking at the four cards, we will look to the two trees, to the Sephra numbered 4. In the minor arcana, all the four cards reflect the meaning of the fourth Sephra on the Tree of Life and the Tree of Knowledge. On the Tree of Life, we have the Emperor. This is in the fourth spot on the Tree of Life. This is the benevolent king. He is the King of Kings. He is very merciful, very charismatic. He unites populations. This is a person who people want to follow. This is a person that people want to be identified with. It's I call it charisma, but it's much more than that. You can call it leadership, but it's different from that. It's the type of person we all want to follow, and that's the nature of the emperor. Again, he's on the side of mercy. Mercy. He's inclusive. On the Tree of Life, this same card is revealed under a different look, and it's the devil. On the Tree of Knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, the devil card, as we've mentioned before, is not about the Satan of the Christian Bible. This comes from a time before Christianity. The devil in tarot cards is a person bedeviled with love of attention and adoration. That's the nature of the devil. And we have a hard time today putting aside the ideas of the devil that we have had in recent times as a great power and adversary of God. This is not this card. This card refers to a psychological change in a person as they become infatuated with the idea of being worshipped, loved, and followed. The Emperor is about the needs of the people. The Devil card is about fame and the need to be adored. You can see, in this case, the Emperor would be all about the people, uniting them, turning kingdoms into Camelots, and improving the situation. Later on, the Emperor becomes bedeviled, and he's about worship, he's about loyalty. And you would see him perhaps having books written about himself, erecting statues, having parades, that kind of thing. Although the Emperor is somebody we would all like to be, the warning is that the Emperor can become too filled up with the adoration of the people. The Emperor is someone we would all strive to be because he's powerful and widely respected. And those allures are very tempting and almost irresistible. The Devil card is about past power and actions that are no longer honorable. We do not want to end up, in a sense, greedy and needy like the Devil card. This is about a psychological change in us where we no longer work outside of ourselves for the greater good, and our own image becomes our sole concentration. To understand the nature of this card, I'll just give you one brief analogy. Somebody came years ago when gifted classes in schools and enrichment courses were all being offered. And this person had had their child tested and said, oh, they've got way above average IQ. They're gifted. They need an enrichment program. And there are different ways of treating this. Many people would say, because this is an unusually intelligent child, we should devote all our time and energies to fostering this intelligence, to developing it and improving it. When we look at the 4 cards, and we remember the word forewarning, the 4 cards are saying the opposite. The 4 cards are saying, do not pursue your strengths and display them at all time. Become good at something, keep it in your back pocket. In the tarot cards, we're going to look at balance. We're going to consider it like the Tree of Life, like the pillars of severity and mercy. We should strive to stay on the middle path, which is called the path of mildness. The 4 cards are about balance. The 4 cards are not pursuing your strengths or your unusual abilities. Develop those, but don't define yourself by those. Keep a broader base of self-definition. The 4 cards of the Minor Arcana all refer to restraint. When you're telling fortunes and a 4 card comes down, it's a warning for that person to cool their jets a little bit. Don't be so pumped up on themselves. Don't be trying to further their already above average abilities. Instead, try to balance out the other areas of your life that may be weaker in contrast.
Such as?
Well, if you were very powerful and you were very used to getting your way by a display of power, a warning, or a threat, the advice of the 4 cards is to do everything you do, but don't use your power. You've got it. It's ending up stifling your other abilities. So instead, work on developing your plans, work on what's the greatest happiness, or end up with some form of payment in order to get your will done. That's an example of back away from your strength and develop your weaknesses. Finally, when it comes to the 4 cards, what the warning is really about, and you can't really say this because many people won't feel that they're adored, but the motto is step aside from adoration. Don't try to be famous, and be aware that fame is often a dead end or an illusion. Now, these are sort of high ideals, but it is the warning that comes from the 4 cards that as you start to develop your strengths and you feel inclusive and powerful, and people do seek your attention and advice, don't become just that source of advice. Be humble and look to your other attributes and develop those, because humans aren't designed to be adored by many people. And that can lead to a change in the mind where you no longer see yourself objectively. You only see yourself in the light of the people who are adoring you. We'll look at the 4 cards now. We'll explore this idea of back down, don't display, balance yourself up. And we'll start with the 4 of coins. And we'll see this man sitting on a miniature throne, and all his riches are kept safe and tight within his grasp. Behind him, you can see the sprawling town. At first glance, this might be the sign of a miser, and you might see it in sort of a selfish role. And it is selfish if you think that this person is trying to take care of themselves. But in the 4 of coins, this person is keeping their wealth rather than displaying it. The idea is, yes, you have some wealth. Keep it, hide it, don't spend any. Avoid defining yourself by wealth. Be humble, be aware that most people need more money. Also, seeming to be richer than others will seldom make your life any better. This is the warning of the 4 of coins. Having wealth is only an advantage if you honestly have it, if it's not just on display, if you're not mortgaged to the hilt, if you haven't borrowed money. There is the aspect that you need to hang on to your money and ask yourself when you're spending your money, is this something that you need, or is this a display? The 4 cards warn against display. They warn against defining yourself by a single attribute. When we move to the 4 of staffs, remembering that staves are your plans. The message here is delight in your joy. Share your happiness, but don't parade it in all avenues. There is a place for this celebration. It strengthens your relationship. It encourages others, but there is a time and a place for it. Staves are your plans in your enterprise. Celebrate these plans with those involved, but only in appropriate situations. There's a saying about grand plans, and that is, tell me what you've done, not what you are going to do. And that's one of the warnings of the staves, is that your plans are something you work on yourself. It is not something you parade in front of others. And that's the common theme among the 4 cards, a warning. Don't think too greatly about yourself and don't limit yourself to one aspect.
Want to put it?
Oh yeah, sorry, I should put it back where it was. We'll move now to the 4 of Cups. We can see in the picture a man who has happiness and joy, and you can see that by the other cups that he has on the ground, but is wary and reluctant to grasp every joy that comes his way. And there's sort of a deep truth to this card. Again, remembering it's a 4, you're being forewarned, and it is a warning. He does not live for joy. He has joy, but that is not his prime purpose. He does not seek happiness for its own sake, and we'll see that that's kind of a bit of a losing battle to begin with, to seek happiness for its own sake. Happiness is actually a byproduct of an interest or an activity. Happiness is also not ecstasy, and it's not inebriation. We're talking about a kind of a happiness that is real and lasting and not destructive in any way. The meaning of the card is to pursue interests, relationships, and activities, but don't chase the emotion of joy. Happiness reaches us through other routes. Happiness is a byproduct. And I think finally we're moving into the 4 of Swords. All the 4s are forewarning you about something, and it's especially true in the case of swords. Remember that swords are your power. We also remember that unlike the other suits, there's a funny thing about swords. Every time you use your power, that double-edged sword will cut you a little bit. There will always be a degree of sadness resulting from the use of power. It's just the way it works. The 4 of Swords is called the warrior's repose. On the face of things, it appears a warrior has either died or is resting. In fact, he is not dead, and he is just resting. More specifically, he has chosen to put aside his power. He puts his power to rest. He is choosing to accomplish his tasks through the other suits, joy as in cups, plans as in staves, and payment as in coins. He will refuse to be defined by his considerable power. He is not going to be known as the tough guy. He is not going to accept that others are going to fear his power and cooperate with him because of that. There are many reasons to have power and to usually not use it. Very good. In fact, that's the best way to consider power, to have it, to have lots of it, to be confident. And again, as I said earlier, keep it in your back pocket. To have power or not use it are good ideas for 2 reasons. The first is the use of power will always inflict some pain on the wielder of the power. So not using power, you'll avoid these stings, these little pains. Number 2, the use of power will put you in the arena of power. By displaying power, by defining yourself, as powerful, you will be competing with enemies and challenges. That's the arena often of angry people. And just because you're powerful, you don't need to participate with angry people. To have power but not need it is a more balanced kind of strength. And it's the kind of strength that we all respect. And to wrap it up, in order to remember the intention of these cards, think of the word forewarned. When you're dealing the cards and a 4 comes up, it's a bit of a warning to the person that you're reading for. The numbered and suited 4 cards warn us to use and develop all 4 areas of our abilities. In tarot, we are composed of 4 parts. Our plans and ideas, that's staffs. Our wealth and possessions, that's coins. Our strength and power is swords. And our joy and happiness are cups. We can look at it in a holistic sense too, that we are comprised of 4 parts as well. Those 4 parts are intellect, emotion, our social abilities, and our physical characteristics. The idea is, if you're strong in one area, develop the others, strive for balance, not excellence in one area. In tarot, we strive for balance, the path of mildness, which lies between severity and mercy. And Jocelyn, do we have any questions?
Why would an emperor become the devil?
Yeah, and that's what we see. I think we're not psychologically designed for it. We evolved in sort of parallel play where we would all do important things, hunting, gathering, that kind of thing, and we would come back and we would distribute and share these things. In later time, through civilization, the whole aspect of adoration came into being, and we didn't evolve with that. And I think it overwhelms our psyche. And when a person is adored, they actually start to believe they are more special than they are.
Is the devil card dangerous?
No, the devil's on the side of mercy. The devil is inclusive. His seeming slaves worship him out of their own free choice. They enjoy having a so-called living idol. There's no victims, there's really no evil, there's just a kind of willing slavery and a self-delusion involved in the devil card.
Why does the knight in the 4 of Swords look like he's dead and on a coffin?
It's symbolic to understand the not use of power is that he is totally removing the threat of power from his day-to-day life. He will pursue difficulties and challenges using his other gifts and attributes instead. As an example, think of a champion boxer who becomes a grade 4 teacher in a school. He has great power. He could threaten anybody, but he chooses to keep all that again in his back pocket, to put it aside. That will not be part of what he does on a day-to-day basis anymore. And that's what this card is. It's about not defining yourself as powerful and not having people live under sort of the threat of you using your power. The person, the powerful person, is not dead, but he has, in a sense, put his aspect of power to sleep for now.
Does the 4 of Staffs encourage celebration?
This is the most active card of the 4s, but you'll notice the staves are like a gate and nobody passes through that gate. It suggests that only in private, amongst those directly involved, do you celebrate. Do not go out parading your plans, because it may irritate people. And again, tell people what you've done, not what you're going to do. You will have great plans, but ask what the other people are doing with their lives, and don't go on and on with things that haven't yet occurred in yours.
Vixma Laura and Itachi say hello,
Hi.
and I will ask your question, Itachi, in a moment. Does the Four of Coins suggest that we should be selfish misers?
Yes and no. We may put a bad, we may think badly of those who are miserly, but consider that being miserly is necessary to the acquisition of wealth. If you get money and put it into flashy things all the time, you are going to have the illusion of wealth. But if you actually went to the bank and added up your balance, your debts and things like that, you may find you are not as wealthy as you appear. Wealth displayed may be a waste, and it, again, will irritate people. Money should be a vehicle, not an end. And you have to have it to be able to use it, and displaying it may put some of your wealth out of your own reach, ironically.
What is the final overall message of the four cards?
The four cards are forewarning you to avoid being adored as much as the thing we all want. The four cards are forewarning us to stay humble, to remember our imperfect nature, and to avoid people who think that we are everything, and to remind them that we are just like them and we're all just striving to get through our lives. Don't be defined by a single aspect of yourself. Be balanced, and above all, reject being adored. We do this by being humble and by being grateful. All the great things we are doing can end in a single day. And I think that is part of the aspect of staying humble and staying balanced. The four cards are warning us not to rush in to being adored by people. That may not serve you in the end, because our minds aren't really capable of handling that, and our emotions get overwhelmed by it. And that's the aspect of, one more question? Or
Itachi asks, do you think the future is already determined?
No, I absolutely don't. I think the present is made up of moments of the past, and the future is made up of moments of the present. I think right now we are constructing the future. It's not made yet. It cannot be known yet. And every time we lay cards for somebody, we are showing them a possible future. If we laid the cards twice, we would get two different predictions. So kind of a long-winded answer, but I think it's good news that we do have the power to improve our future. And that's it for the fours. Thank you for tuning in. And next week we'll move to the 5 cards. Have a great day. Bye for now.